Today we're going to be going over a homework that I went over with a student earlier on today, specifically about proportions using percentages. Now, what a proportion is it's essentially two ratios that are set equal to each other with the end goal of finding a missing value. Now, what a ratio is it's pretty simple, right? Let's just take, for example, if you eat 4 cookies in 2 minutes, how many cookies did you eat in a minute? Now, a lot of you guys said 2, right? Essentially what you do is you take the 4 cookies, you divide it by 2 minutes. Now you get 2 cookies per minute, and that gives you something called your unit rate, right? That is what a ratio is. It's essentially a fraction that we divide, right, in order to find the unit rate. So then we know how many we're eating in general. And then what we can do is we can use that information to fluctuate. So for example, if we know that we eat 2 cookies per minute, now I can figure out how many cookies I eat in 5 minutes, for example, right? By simply multiplying that unit rate, 2 cookies per minute, times the 5 minutes to end up getting 10 cookies in that regard. Now the proportion is the next step of that, right? It's essentially setting up that ratio, but then setting something up that's equivalent to it to solve for the missing part. So in this case, we have two ratios here, one being percentages and the other one being a number value. Now, the next part about this that's tricky is identifying what goes where. Now, the percentage portion is the easier side because that percentage automatically sets up its ratio. What I mean by that is a percentage is automatically the number over 100. So in this case here, it's going to be a 20 over 100. Equal to, again, we're setting them equal to, right? These ratios have to be equal to each other. And now, what number is 20% of 148? Now, math is a language, right? It's a language of numbers, essentially. And so what we have to do here is we have to translate this language into plain English. What number is 20% of 148? When it says of 148, that is the total value, right? We're trying to find 20% of this number. So of 148 means that's going to be the base value, and our x value is going to be on top. Now, a very important thing about proportions as well, as we get out of like the percentage idea and into proportions of all types, is the units have to be the same on the top and bottom. In this case, total values on bottom. This is 20 out of 100, 20%. 100 is a total, that's on bottom. So if our total's on bottom here, our total also has to be on bottom on the other side. Now, the next thing here is we're going to do something called cross multiplying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this value times this value, and this value times this value. Now the reason why is because this is essentially just a faster version of solving for x, right? I would have to do this anyway by multiplying 148 times 20 for inverse operations, right? This is a division, opposites multiplication. I'd have to multiply it over here, and then I'd have to divide by 100 anyway. So that's like the same idea. This is just doing all of that in one step. 100 times x is 100x. Okay. 20 times 148 equals 2,960. And then here we're dividing by 100. And anytime you divide by a base 10 value, it's just a decimal move. So dividing by 100 is the same thing as moving the decimal place 2 to the left here. And we're going to get x is equal to 29.6. All right, and we'll not go through all of these because there's a lot. We'll just go through the first few. So this next one here, 84 is 35% of what number? Okay, as the more you do these, you're going to start building some pattern recognition. Specifically, of usually is followed by the total. So 35% again, we're going to just write that one out, 35 over 100. Is equal to, and then of what number? In other words, this is the total value. Now what we're solving for is the total value. So we're going to have the x in the denominator here and the 84 in the numerator. Again, same process still applies. We're going to cross multiply. X times 35 is 35x. 100 times 84 is just 84 with 2 zeros at the end of it. 8,400, and then we're going to do 8,400 divided by 35. That gives you x is equal to 240. Perfect. Also, if you're on a test, right, a lot of the time we should be checking our work, right? Especially in test settings, we should just check our work just to make sure that's correct. The way that we would check our work in this case is these are equal to each other, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 84 divided by 240 into my calculator. I'm going to get 0.35, and then 35 over 100 is also 0.35. So the fact that those things are equal to each other proves that this is essentially correct. That proves my answer there. Okay, we'll do two more. What number is 230% of 36? Okay, 230%. Okay, so again, no matter what, percentage is over 100. So even though this is an improper fraction, it's still correct. And then what number is 230% of 36? Again, of, big number there. That means total value. That means denominator. So then my x is going here. Okay, so now I have 100x is equal to 230 times 36, 8,280. Again, dividing by 100 is just a decimal move twice to the left. So the answer is 82.8. Now, final one here. What percent of 85 is 34? Different idea here. Usually we've been given the percent. This one we haven't. So what we're going to do is we're going to do x over 100. We don't know what the percentage is. That's what we're solving for. Okay. Of 85 instantly tells me that's the total value. Put that in the denominator, 34. And then set this up. We're going to have 85x is equal to 34 with 2 zeros behind it. Now, 3,400 divided by 85 gives me the answer of 40. So 40% is the final answer. And that's it for today, guys. If you guys have any questions, again, go to the link mindleaptutor.com, go to the math resources page, and then hit the video archive, scroll to the bottom, and there is going to be a question bank where you can send any videos you want whatsoever and get videos made just like this one, whether it's test prep, homework help, anything like that. Feel free to just send those in there, and I'll get those out to you guys as fast as possible. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.